insight into the true nature of things. This is very powerful.
So understanding is another component of wisdom, right?
Yes. A lot of situations when there is a financial problem, or there is a marriage problem, or there are a problem with our children, right, or with an employer, we kind of pinpoint it to one person. We tend to blame, or maybe we think by the world standard, if you are trying to analyze by going to a counselor or somebody, right, they would say, if this was fixed, your marriage would be problem would be solved, or your financial problem would be solved.
So they are also giving us some insight into the issue. Yes,
exactly. But you'll be surprised when you have the wisdom of God in you, right? He will exactly pinpoint what exactly is the root cause of the problem, or where exactly is the bottleneck. So instead of going about in circles, or trying to spend a lot of time and money too sometimes, by the discernment that God is giving you, you'll be able to find the what is the real problem in a particular
So the diagnosis,
matter.
like you say, the doctors are known by the capacity to diagnose the problem. There are some doctors who go quickly into prognosis.
Very
so you're
true.
saying diagnosis is something which you have to draw upon from within yourself. So my question is, if you have diagnosed the problem, let's say the discernment within you has helped you to put your finger on the problem. So how do you go on? Does that help? Is it a completion of wisdom, or is there another component
Yes.
of being able to apply that insight or understanding? So is there, how do you do that?
Yes, good question. So that's the third one, right? The ability to discern modes of action with a view to the results, right? Why is someone having, what makes the difference between one person or the other, right? Sometimes everybody has the same insight into a problem. One works towards coming out of the problem and moves forward with a wanting to find the result, a solution for the problem that they have, right? It's not enough that you go to the doctor and, like you said, he finds what is the problem. A lot of times we go there just to hear, oh, that whatever you thought the problem you were having, he also was able to pinpoint.
And after that, what?
No, after that, he will give you about 5 different tablets to eat for 5 days. You will see you will not have even touched one of them.
Because you just want a psychological comfort. Oh, yes, exactly. I do have this problem, So
how many of the people that we know have not come and opened the drawer to take the tablets out and eat?
So what stops the person? So you're saying it's another component of wisdom in being able to execute the knowledge and insight that you have, to act upon it, not just
that
saying.
That is another component, but also to it is a component because people will not know what is the first step that you need to take after the diagnosis, right? Let's say a problem calls for 4 to 5 steps, or the problem in that particular field, you're not aware of the problem, of the particular field, right? It's totally new. Let's say God says, embark on this particular project, right? But you don't know how to do. God's wisdom will also enable you to take the first step. He will lead you step by step to get the right result needed. Also a component of you having to listen to the voice of God.
And act on it.
Act on it. Be attuned to, hear from. A lot of times our head will say, okay, now you know what the problem is. Now you will draw upon your past experiences or your intelligence to find the right way of solving a problem.
Because I think it's good for us to reflect on how we to challenge some of our understanding of wisdom. So time and again you're also saying the source of wisdom is different, and the way you respond to different wisdom is also very different in the biblical paradigm. You really begin to act on it out of faith, even though you know that you may not have the capacity to handle it. See, obviously when you go to a person or ask God for wisdom, you are overwhelmed by the problem, and now you get an insight, and the insight requires that you act on it. You don't have the energies to act.
Correct.
So I think by faith you put the first step.
Very good.
And then start moving onwards.
Beautiful analysis, Alice, because if you look at Peter, they had fished the whole night, right? And they were helpless, right? And God sensed, right, that they hadn't caught a single fish.
They were on the wrong side.
They were on, God said, throw the net to the right. Immediately, what was Peter's response? Master, we fished the whole night. Peter was born in that place. he lived in the Galilee, area of Galilee.
He thought
he knew, the ins and outs of where the school of fish would be. But after reasoning within his mind, he did vocalize to, but he said, "Nevertheless, Master, I will do it."
It's because he has accepted Christ as the Master.
The Lordship of Christ.
So I think a lot of people stop at the first stage.
Yes.
You want an answer for your problem. Obviously, Peter was frustrated that he wasn't catching any fish. But when the answer was given, he didn't want to try a different strategy. Is there something about wanting to have an answer, but wanting to do the same thing? You don't want to change your behavior or mend your actions, which is putting you in the first place. Which is getting you stuck in the world.
That's something I think, have I heard you say? A fool is somebody who wants a different result.
By doing the same thing. We expect a different result by doing the same thing. So I think it's even in there are two major things. It's about averting crisis, which calls for a wise reaction. Wisdom before taking a decision, wisdom after, in the eventuality of you having taken a wrong decision. There are two times we need wisdom. But I think God is more interested in giving the wisdom that prevents us from getting into a lot of problems in the first place, and save us a lot of unhappiness. And
because Satan's number one strategy, right, to prevent us to make progress in our life. Sometimes, he of course blinds people from entering into the kingdom of God. So let's say we overcome the first hurdle, but even within the kingdom, there are some people who have made headway while some are still stagnant, right? So what is the difference? Of course, some people are a little more sensitive to God, and some people are highly motivated to get all that God has for them for their lives. But also there is a component of wanting to align your life in accordance with what God has for you, and that is also one of the definitions for wisdom. It says mastery of the art of living in accordance with God's expectation. That is a wise man will say, I want to align my life in accordance with the plan that God has.
And the ability to do so.
Yes, and the fool says,
there is no God. Okay. So there's no God factor. I can handle it myself. So that's the earthly wisdom.
Yes.
And there's the heavenly wisdom where, it first of all.
So even after entering into the kingdom of God, a wise man, even for a day-to-day living, right, he will seek God's wisdom so that on the day of facing God, he is able to say, Lord, all that you had for me, I have fulfilled.
So what's the relationship between wisdom and pride? Why do you think, I see a lot of people, being rooted and stuck in one position. They don't make much difference or much headway. So is there anything to do with pride that keeps them rooted in the same place?
Definitely. Humility is the way you can gain wisdom. Because it says, in all your ways acknowledge the Lord, and He shall direct your paths.
So wisdom is being directed by God from within, by getting into you and showing you the way. And that is a sensible woman.